Right. Maybe it's better I do this particular live instead of an official showcase. Just letting everybody know, first and foremost, I reached out, so we can expect possibly tomorrow and soon Josh from Stuck in the Middle, Stuck at Night. And I've been in touch with CanCon, and to be honest, I've had him ready, and he has said he would appear, and then I have ghosted. So just letting that one out there, so you guys can just know what's in the pipe. So for what we can expect in the future, just need to work on the structure. So the topic at hand for now, before I do something a bit more official, I'm gonna touch on. I guess this is the White Dragon, promptly, sir, in your suit and tie. That's how I see it. But you're a dragon. All right. Well, I am gonna. I think for now, stop greeting almost everybody that enters because I want to get into this rhythm. So White Dragon, you're the first and last for now. So here it is. Okay, I have been following the Daily Wire, Candice Owens, Ben Shapiro, all of this stuff. Somebody that I used to really respect. He grew popular during the screw all the words, man, during COVID, because people had to figure out new ways to be entertaining. And this was Andrew Schultz. If you're familiar with Andrew Schultz, he has a very annoying podcast called Flagrant, where he has a literal new epiphany every fucking night, and he thinks he is like something special. But he actually got one thing right. He said something, and it was just through sheer force of chaos theory. Whatever can happen will happen. The man said something that actually made quite a bit of sense. And so the next time that I go on, I'm going to share this 16-minute video. It's a breakdown. So as he was ranting, such as I do, he came to this conclusion. Let me ask anybody that's listening or will be listening, why do you feel Candice Owens was fired? It's clear that it was not amicable. It was not. It was not a professional understanding issue. We were lied to. It was something that was being swept up. And the interesting thing I know this is going to be controversial, but if we're not able to have the conversations we're even afraid to, what's the point of even having channels that have open-ended dialogue? So I'm just going to say what this Mr. Schultz said about Ben Shapiro. And apparently, first, Candace Owens, she says Christ is king, right? Now we're going to go with the whole First Amendment super important deal, okay? And what is the Daily Wire always advertised itself to be every single time? It is the place where you can go, and Ben Shapiro is the man himself of a manifestation of facts over feelings. Okay, we have to say what we need to, and we need discourse, and that's it. Like, say everything. It's an alternative to the mainstream media. Everybody gravitates towards the Daily Wire because, as it's been pointed out, for one, I think the Daily Wire has professionally tapped into some wise things, and you can even blame me for doing some of the same tactics, only I'm not doing it out of strategy. I get very upset regarding the trans community trying to co-opt and own the entire alphabet community and erase biological women, right? So I'm a TERF. I get upset about that. I talk about it here, but I'm not trying to profit off of that. All right. So the Daily Wire, it appeases and appeals to a huge network, mostly the right wing. And I'm very interested on any feedback regarding people that know Ben Shapiro is 100% pro-Israel. There's no gray. There's just, holy shit, actions, not distractions. I have not expected to see it. Um, so Ben Shapiro is pretty notorious for being 100% pro-Israel without a doubt, and he's been very public. He's the one that he's the reason it wasn't swept under the rug. He could not keep this issue that he took with Candace Owens, who exercised the very right that they advocate for, so much so that they want you to pay a yearly subscription fee, which is I pay it, and I'm no longer going to, just so I can have access to a few movies. Candace Owens said Christ is king. I'm not a religious man. So these little things, they don't bother me as much as they bother people of faith. but I'm very curious for any believers, anybody that's really in touch with the Heavenly Father, or however you talk about that relationship. Okay, and if you believe in Jesus, if you believe in Jesus Christ, how do you feel? I'm dying to know, whether this be in the aftermath of this being live or right now. I would love to engage in the comments. I'm in my car, I'm in my uniform, so I don't want to, but I want this to get as interactive as possible. I am absolutely curious, because the last thing we need, especially on the right, which is, I think, doing so well, especially while the DNC and the left and, all the same names that we've grown accustomed to, the very shills that had me on board and brainwashed 100%, defending Antifa and BLM like a complete moron. And here we are now. So Ben Shapiro is going against the First Amendment, that is being preached so heavy and hard to appeal to the right wing, because the right wing, let's face it, is being mass censored. I know there's people that would disagree, but I know the ones that are in touch enough are very aware that the mainstream is dominated by the left. And to say otherwise would be completely disingenuous. It would be a lie you tell yourself to convince yourself the world is something that it is not. And if you want to live in that bubble, stay in that bubble and don't pop it. But if you're listening to this, I'm going to pop it for you. It's fucking obvious. Look in the mirror, say it so, and accept it, period. But how does the community, who are conservatives, feel that the allegation so far is growing into the fact that there's a question: is Ben Shapiro an Israeli plant? And I know it's a terrible look for a lot of people, and people are afraid to talk about it. I have my Jewish heritage from my father, so I feel somewhat comfortable. It's stupid. I feel like I have plot armor, so I have the blessing from what fucking cancel culture and society to talk about something that's stupid and that needs to change, or maybe that's my own perception that needs to change. So yes, Ben Shapiro was so angry that she has expressed sympathy for the Palestinian civilians that have been getting murked. I don't understand how you can condemn somebody, condemning innocents, being whose lives are being taken. In any way when it comes to war is grotesque. Bombs or bullets. These are the words YouTube doesn't love. So she condemns that openly a couple times. Pretty sure if you were following closely enough, you'd see she got a warning. And I don't think Candice Owens is one that likes to stay silent. And so she didn't. She kept pushing everything that she wanted to say, because she's not one to hold back. And then, so after she did this interview on the Breakfast Club, which has a more larger appeal, which is, I would think she would get an attaboy, a pat on the back for going on a network that has much more of a spread. It has access to people that we need, that the conservative base or the MAGA base, like whatever you want to call it. All I know right now, for me, without getting lost in the complete chaos of what is that there's only one person I entrust to vote for, that I want to vote for, that we have a right to, and the media is clearly, nonstop, along with the strong arm of the co-opted, or should I say co-opted government, or the government. The DNC is our government, it seems right now, even though the GOP is still writing legislation hand in hand with them, and everybody's laughing all the way to the bank. So we got a few people that are outspoken enough to where I can say, okay, I respect this individual because they stand on this or that conviction, and I've seen them sign this bill and not that one. You got to always watch who's signing what and not just listen to the sound bites. So I mean, this is just a question that is going to dominate my mind until I have this more appropriately set up. Is how do any of you feel about the Daily Wire? I feel being a bit of a hypocrite. So it's clearly banking on the common sense outrage, is what I call it, when like, I'm going to always use me as the example because I didn't know. Apparently, somebody that was a Democrat was a part of the walk away movement. I wasn't aware there was a movement. I just watched the party that I was invested in and fought for, blood, sweat, and tears, not literally, knocking on doors, telling people to vote for Bernie Sanders, telling Cubans to vote for Bernie Sanders in a Florida trailer park. That was not an easy thing to do, but I did it, damn it. And I used to defend AOC, Nina Turner, Ilhan Omar. I mean, tell me how much I have changed, because it all started with that little show, Stuck in the Middle, and my buddy Josh, who was, I did call. We were supposed to do a little something tonight, but we're going to be doing something this week. I promise. I just, so to me, yeah, clear hypocrisy. You can't preach First Amendment rights, and now I think it's fair. Like, is it possible? Is this controversial? Does this make anybody mad that I'm asking? Do you think the Daily Wire is an Israeli plant? Because if they're not allowing people to have a dissenting voice, I'll try to completely misquote Andrew Schultz. You can't have this one window and have all of this line of thinking that you're supposed to follow to a T. And if you step outside of the window, then that's it. You're fired, you're ostracized, you're canceled. I mean, that's what was revealed. I'm looking forward to Candice Owens telling all, and she's going to do just that. She's going to go on Joe Rogan. She's going to make her own media. I think she's got great things ahead of her. This is really funny when you juxtapose me 5 years ago or so, trying to dog her for her choices. I was very critical as a high schooler. She used the NAACP to sue her high school, and now she's, all on racism is not there. But I digress. It's just a point that I used to use, and I don't know how anybody feels about it. People do change their minds, and it's wild to me how anybody will come out and attack somebody. Flip flopper, fence sitter. It's okay to kind of stand on something and give it a good think before you dedicate yourself to an idea. Try to, do your homework. So I am absolutely disappointed, and I won't use the term disenfranchised because I know how deep I feel when I say that, because I say that about our government. And when I think about our government, I think about the control of this country, and that how it is right now as it stands. And I watch every other social media platform constantly taking any blame away from Biden. I just cannot believe that they can't. The DNC cannot be. I mean, they're not stupid. They have their shadow cabals, and the FBI is in their pocket, or vice versa. Who knows? And I refuse to believe there's no way they're going to push and advocate for Biden to run again. But they're really trying to push the fact that, or the people that are defending it. I'm running into people saying, "Oh, you can't blame Biden. You can't. It's not inflation. It's just the and there's truth to this, but more than one thing can be true. I hear a lot. Oh, it's the billion-dollar corporations, and it's their most profitable quarter. That's true. It is their most profitable quarter. They're hoarding wealth. What a shocker! The greedy rich are being greedy. Fucking news mic drop. Boom. By God, I never would have thought. So the rich are doing their rich thing, the 1%, the elite, whatever. I'd hope this is something the left, the right, the middle, our independents, libertarians, whatever, could all kind of agree on. Okay, clearly. But if we're going to agree on certain things as being a fundamental truth, I would love to see the conservatives that are invested in the Daily Wire, like even Matt Walsh came out and tried to defend Candice Owens in what she said. And what she said is not radical. She just simply executed her First Amendment right by saying Christ is king. And I think it's a terrible look for the Daily Wire to cancel and fire one of their strongest voices. And there's no question as to why. So I'm very, like, honestly, my curiosity knows no ends. I want to see the representatives, the people that pay the money and give them all their traffic and their views, and what do you think? If you believe because I know faith is an important thing to many. If you believe in God as Candice believes in Jesus, how do you feel about Ben Shapiro and the Daily Wire not allowing her to exercise this thought, this free thinking without consequence? How do you feel? Is it possible? Yeah, of course, that's a dumb question to ask. I think it's absolutely possible that the Daily Wire is an Israeli plant. I mean, look, trust me, I support Israel. It's right to exist. It's right to fight for itself. I'm not on board with Netanyahu's massive expansion, which has created I think undue conflict, unnecessary conflict and bloodshed. He is a warmonger, in my opinion, and my father, the man of the true Jewish blood, he agrees with me on that. But my father, my hero, he doesn't seem to ease up too much when it comes to Palestine, and we both have come to an agreement, which is, Hamas is holding their hostages. And there was an interesting issue in one of the last time we were live here in the chat. I feel terrible that somebody did not appreciate some of the other people that were discussing stuff, but what was being discussed was fact. And if we have to accept facts, even if they upset us, and if I make it specific, I risk hurting the person that felt I don't know why they were so hurt to acknowledge that Islam does, in fact, I've had this conversation many times with people of their respective faith. One of my favorite bosses that is like family to me. I told you I've worked with them for two or so years. They are Muslim, and I am the Jubian. Okay, Colombian, Jewish, blah blah blah. Not much into religion myself, but I heard all the jokes, and we had the honest conversations. He admitted to the passages that allow, the verse that says it is appropriate, it's acceptable, it's okay to lie, cheat, steal, and unalive a kafir, an infidel, a non-believer. Okay, and non-believer applies to anybody that doesn't believe in strictly Muhammad. And much to my chagrin, because it upsets me that somebody I care about gets upset. But we have to stand our ground regarding the fact being a fact. And I saw that it was mentioned, oh, that's misinterpreted, but it sounds pretty cut and dry. And it was actually one of the old hosts from the Stuck in the Middle show, Adam, who has agreed to come on board and do an actual Stuck in the Middle proper reunion, which I am super excited for any of you all to see. It'll be on the original channel. We're going to get a nice setup, and oh man, I just miss vibing with my friends and talking about all this stuff. So, look, I think I've made it very, very clear. I, I, I need the insight. I would appreciate any critical thinking. If you want to keep it more personal, you can email me, I suppose, or find me on IG. But the feedback I need to see, I'd love to see. If you yourself are a conservative, you believe in Jesus, what is your opinion on the Daily Wire and their actions towards Candice Owens? That is my genuine question. And what do you intend to do about it? What do you think? Is the Daily Wire just being funded by Israel? I mean, aside from, of course, we have paid them plenty of money, and they in turn give us our confirmation bias. They tell us they do a lot of good work. I mean, hell, Matt Walsh's "What Is a Woman?" Run, Hide, Fight. They poke fun, and they talk about all the stuff that we love to see, because it's the new counterculture, which is insane. I never would think that. Am I using the right term? That counterculture would envelop politics. I think of counterculture from as a term in the '60s, and it was hippies, love, sex, music, rock and roll, and all that. But now we need our own place and space, which is fairly large and growing. And I do believe it will just eat the mainstream whole unless they finally learn how to infiltrate everything and just, eliminate what's antiquated and get with what's modern. And I think they still have a fighting chance. They got enough, dogs in the fight and all the creepy elite shit going on and coming out the woodwork. 2024, baby. That's the year of the expose. Cat Williams said it himself, and it's been right. I saw a video recently. P. Diddy, I'm sure that the video that I ended up finding was put into my algorithm, and it was probably a lie just to get me to click it, but it was hilarious. I saw P. Diddy talking, like, after you could tell he was a little maybe out of breath, low on the energy, but he was like, man, I just had a good 3-hour cry. I'm thinking, billionaires cry too, guys, especially when that human trafficking doesn't go 100%. I mean, I can't really empathize. I don't want to make any crazy comparisons. Let's see. What could I make into a very tasteless joke about human trafficking? Nothing. I can't. I'm sorry. P. Diddy, you're a fucking monster. And he has the audacity and the gall. This is this is the worst part of those that claim their faith is their number one, value, is they do these heinous, evil things to their fellow man and woman and children, and they'll say things like, man, God is love, man, I love God. And you know if I believed in hell, and I know that may sound foolish to many, but if I believed, I personally, and I'm always willing to have a conversation about uh this in general. I'm always concerned about how it'll be received, but I think, hey, oblivion, afterlife, oblivion. You're unconscious of being unconscious. Literally, it's over. That's what I think. But I know there's many that believe in heaven and hell. Hey, fun fact, originally in the Old Testament, there was only one mention of hell, and it was spelled Hel. And we didn't have the seven levels of hell until, what was it, 15th century, Dante's Inferno. You can find William Shakespeare's initials, and he dropped some hints because the Vatican had him kind of revamp the Bible. I don't want to get too deep into that stuff, but I love details like that. This, for me, 2024 on this channel, this is going to be the year of the unsubscriber, okay? Because I'm going to continue to let loose on absolutely everything I absolutely 100%, I just said that twice, believe. I have to put it all out there. I have to share. I know it sounds super cheesy when I say it, but it has to mean something. I'm too old to stand on something false, to try to build upon a lie. And shit, man, I already copped to how this all started, and the clock can't go back. So I accept where I am. I took the licks necessary. Here we all are. All right, it's been an evolution, and I hope we all can grow together to try to understand this world that has become something I can no longer define. Right now, if anybody knows this title, mad respect. I'm currently reading Crime and Punishment by Dostoevsky. So far, I'm looking into more philosophy-driven content, and I got these 3 months, 120. I've lost count. It's on my app. 120 some odd days of sobriety, and my mind has been thirsting for more compelling, stimulating thought and conversation, for that matter. And I know I've said too many times, open panel, but I remember in the past, I mean, it's not often. If I do an open panel, I drop the link. I think it's only happened maybe like 3 times in, I don't, a year, over a year, where it just, it's the, same faces. I'd love to see anybody. Don't be afraid to talk. You don't need to show your face, feel free to represent your voice, engage in dialogue, feel free to challenge anything that I say. I need to challenge. We all need a challenge. That's how life stays spicy and interesting. I don't want to ever feel like I have yes men in my corner. There's too much of that. There's so much I want to talk about, which makes me feel excited, and that's why I'm so thankful for this channel and all of you. Please feel free while I'm in the moment and able to remember. Feel free to just tap the thumbs up. Apparently it does something fantastic. Although I'm sure it won't do too much given the kinds of things that I talk about here. But remember that my number one concern or interest right now is Daily Wire, Israeli plant. CanCon did send me some information to read something about a politician gangster's handbook. He was just at an event. He's doing fantastic. He was at an event. Trump was there too. He's got amazing pictures. He has agreed to come onto this show, this channel, 3 freaking times, and I ghosted him 3 freaking times. That that's shitty. I share that. Why? I don't know. Why not? I say. But that's the more I stick with sobriety, the more I'm gonna learn to use it. Because it was easy to be a complete mess and defer to I'm an alcoholic, I don't need structure. Now I see where it's become a weakness. So okay, I'm gonna briefly look at the chat. Okay, Shamrock. Right. You don't feel anything about what if the light at the end of the tunnel is light to a hospital and your rebirth? See, that's something that my mother raised me to believe. On top of her being an absolutely traditional, well, there's nothing traditional about my mom's beliefs. She was raised Catholic, and I guess you could technically consider her a Christian, but she's all over the place. She believes in karma. She believes in UFOs. She believes in heaven, hell, devil, God, and all the things that you would expect to hear from a believer or a Christian. She's on board with it. Although I know she has some beliefs that I don't think are applicable for any one denomination. Me, I relate the most to the tenets of Buddhism, where the mission, so to speak, if you want to put it that way, is about finding your heaven on earth and not struggling for your good boy points, so you can go to the pearly gates and cash in and be reunited with everybody that got all the good boy points and attaboys. Sorry if that sounds insensitive, but 2024, this is going to be the make or break the channel and me. And I thank everybody for staying along for the ride as long as you have. Barb, what's up, darling? Always a pleasure. I have done some recent research, by the way, regarding that topic we spoke about very briefly. But yeah, you just came on the tail end. I know I should be doing these much longer, but when I do these rants from my car, I don't really particularly want to be on for, I don't know, 2 hours. But I see some of these other folks that here's a sad fact. Some individuals, no name is necessary and no shade being cast their way, that snipe other channels and pretty much, just focus on the drama. And it's just the same pocket of YouTubers and the same names and the same drama or new drama and more anger and new anger. And all of it has to do with just being angry at each other, our countrymen. This is where the distractions are so obvious. We're infighting as per the design, and we're so distracted by the pettiness of one another on such a piss-soaked little platform like YouTube when it comes to this kind of shit. And that's what gets you. If I wanted 80 people in here, all I got to do is start naming names and start beefing. And that's just not, I did that the first 4 months. Oh my God, the attention flew. But I can't be a fucking pawn. I can't be a dog. I'm not going to bark for any master. I'm here on, there's only one quest, and that's the one where I'm trying to get to the center of what's under your chest. Yeah, no, don't worry. I'm not dropping freestyles. Trying to think anything in the news aside from, I've just been obsessing about this this revelation, and the whole Ben Shapiro, Daily Wire, Candice Owens. I think I made that more clear than necessary and possible. And I think I said that twice. So I think on that, next time I come up, I'm going to play this 16-minute video, break it down a little bit, and I want to share some of the things that have come to light. And in local news, you guys want to hear some Final Destination like shit? So there was some family business issues, whatever. Yesterday, I had to call out of work, and I have the TV on in the living room. I walk by, and some crane at this road that's not terribly far. It's really, honestly, just maybe 15 miles out or something. I'm really bad with directions, and I couldn't read a map if my life depended on it. But a crane fell on one car, and a second vehicle ended up crashing into it after the fact. But that crane, very high in the sky, fell down and takes out this one person. Like, that's just, to me, not getting too deep into it, but if the universe had its own consciousness, that bitch was like, yo, this guy has had his fill. Today's the day. And my heart goes out to the family, but by goodness gracious, man, you're just driving and a crane that's high up just happens to like just face plant right on top of your car and smash you and end you. Those odds are pretty wild. Like, the odds are the equivalent of getting bit by a shark and struck by lightning twice. That shit is wild. And seeing I didn't see the footage of it actually happening. I just saw the crane on top of the car completely obliterated the front. Absolutely wild. And that's local news for you. Everything else is just the same old, man. The media going media. They lying to us every day, every night. I have my same outrage when it comes to the tea community. I watched Jesse Lee Peterson, Kevin Samuels, and again, I'm going in on the Dostoevsky. And I used to actually go around saying I was a nihilist without having a complete understanding of it. But Crime and Punishment, I think, is a great breakdown of why that's not sustainable. Feel free to let me know. What's the kind of shit that keeps you intellectually stimulated? What's your escapism? I got comic books and I got philosophy. I got shows. Video games is becoming really, really challenging for me to stick to. I have arguably one of the, greatest childhood experience remakes ever. Like Final Fantasy VII was one of the most pivotal titles I've played. I guess I'm considered a gamer. Who's texting me? Don't text me when I'm live. So I'm playing Final Fantasy VII, and it's beautiful, it's amazing, blah, 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 but I just can't stop thinking. And I guess that's me getting used to the sober brain. Clarity's a bitch. I don't know how y'all do it, but much big shout out and mad respect to all of you. That's that. I think I got what I needed to for now out of my system. My body is sore from labor. I wonder if it's like keywords that really do discourage viewership, or if I'm just that charming. All right, that's it, everybody. Much love. Y'all take care. And Jamrock, number love, number love. White Dragon, you're a dragon in a suit. I don't care what you say. I'm very interested in what will happen at the. Oh, that's right. Thank you for. Damn it, man. See, I could start another rant easily, but apparently people are going around saying that the eclipse is going to be essentially the starting of what? Some sacrifice thing? I don't. Oh God. Please feel free to drop a comment or send me an email, or I can do my own research, but that shit just sounds so amazing. I can't wait to go look into that. Good night, everyone. Be well, be good to one another. Stay armed and dangerous, okay? And informed. Knowledge is truly going to be power in the times to come. And the Second Amendment too. That's a big one. We're going to need it to fight for the first. Good night. Goodbye.
Goodbye.